Hi, I'm Barbara Vercruysse. I am a global kindness advocate and I will be on the Online Prosper Show and tune in to learn more about the power of kindness, how kindness is a strength, not a weakness at all, how it can help you lead a fulfilled, empowered life. See you then. Bye-bye.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we've got a guest who truly embodies the power of resilience and the magic of kindness. Now, Barbara, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Prosper. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be here with you on the show.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. I think the world needs a lot more kindness than we are being offered right now. And that's the reason why I couldn't wait to have you on the show, Barbara, because I think your insights and everything else that you bring to the table is very, needed at this particular moment. So for those that are meeting Barbara Vercruysse for the very first time, she's not just a global kindness advocate or bestseller, but she's also a mentor and thought leader who has actually turned life's toughest moments into a mission of compassion. Now, for those that are curious to know why I'm saying this, Barbara actually survived stage 4 cancer at just 32. And instead of just surviving, she's actually been thriving and she's been transforming lives and businesses, with her own unique blend of empathy and excellence. And if only you knew what she actually has to do after, she finishes this conversation, you'll be surprised. While she has been guiding a group of BMW dealerships, to top-notch customer experiences, from, mentoring those leaders and putting them on a path to kindness. So it's not just sheer driving pleasure. It's also kindness embodied in every drive of every BMW that, Barbara has the access of, being in front of. And I think being in a position like that is such a remarkable place to be. So that's why we've got her here. And I know that she's got wisdom that's equal parts powerful and practical. So buckle up, folks, since we're already talking about cars, because I think you're in for a heartfelt ride. And I can't wait to dig into this inspiring journey that Barbara brings to the table. Now, Barbara, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about your journey so far and what kindness means to you.
Yes. Thank you, Prosper. Thank you for saying it so eloquently. The journey, I'm 54 now, so it has been quite a journey already. The kindness, people would ask me many times, why kindness? Why are you so passionate about kindness? Well, I can say since childhood, I have been called too kind. People would say, you're too kind for this world, Barbara. You're too kind. You have to toughen up. And I never, ever could understand that. What did they mean? You're too kind. Did that mean I had to become less kind? Is that what we want to tell our children? You're too kind. Toughen up. So that always startled me. But like many of us, when you go into your teenage, your young adulthood, you try to fit in. So like everybody else, I went to college, married. I started a business because I really have the entrepreneurial vibe, you could say. And that was a construction business at the time. Because as a child, I grew up in a construction business. My parents ran one. So it was something that I knew. And when I was into my business, around 5 years into my business, and a young mom, 3 children, married since 5 years, I was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer. That was in 2003. I was 32. As you can imagine, it shakes your entire existence. They told me practically, you have 6 more months to live. You can sell your business, like say goodbyes. And what do you do when you are told it's over? First of all, I had a very strong desire to survive as a young mom. I think I still had some, like hormones in me that I was really ready to do whatever was in my power to survive this. And what was in my power? There was only one thing in my power. It was my mindset, my thoughts. I had to surrender to the doctors for the treatments. I had several surgeries. I had a year of chemotherapy, but I did have the power over how I would approach the situation. And the first night in hospital, I was really very deeply, deeply sad, mostly because I didn't have my kids with me. I was alone in hospital. I started crying, but then like in a click, I was telling myself, Barbara, don't be silly. They are surrounded with love. My oldest was 3.5 years. My second was 2 years. My youngest was only a few months old. They were with my parents and parents-in-law. So I was telling myself, they are surrounded with love and they have no clue what's going on. So don't worry about them. And then I said, okay, I will not allow myself to go into despair. I will not allow myself to go into negativity because I know it would affect me physically too. And it was like a conscious decision to focus on the positive only. I was telling myself, even if these are my last 6 months, I want to spend them in joy. And I had to kind of train the people who came to visit me because many came with tears, almost saying goodbyes. And I had to say, stop it. I'm not dead yet. Like I'm alive. I'm here. Even my husband, my parents, which is, like it's understandable that they were crying. My husband saw himself ending a widower at 32 with 3 little children and a business. So he was in those first weeks really, really desperate. And I had to say, stop it. Let's, go through this together, but in a positive way. So long story short, I survived, several surgeries, chemotherapy. But I made a promise to myself because all those months in the hospital made me think, makes you reflect. You're 32. What if this is over? Am I happy with my legacy? And the answer was no. I was not.
Wow.
Why not? Because until that age, I mostly had lived up to the expectations of others. I had done what I thought was expected from me, what I thought a good person does, like college, marriage, business. But I never really reflected, is this deep within me what my soul is yearning for? I committed to take the second chance that I got, because I got a second chance. To take it with both hands and to build every single day to leave a positive legacy. And my passion, you could say, was to shift our perspective on kindness and compassion. To no longer see it as some kind of weakness or some kind of sentimentality, because it is not. And I want to clarify for people listening who still maybe think that kindness is weakness or you're a doormat. There's a big difference between kindness and niceness. When you're nice, it's more taught behavior. You're nice because you have to. Even if your boss is rude to you, you're not nicely because you're afraid to lose your job if you speak up. So niceness comes from taught behavior and a powerless place. Kindness, however, is a conscious choice. Let's say your boss, your manager is rude to you. A customer is rude to you. Client is rude to you. You can see that the rudeness of that other person has nothing to do with you. It is an expression of their state of mind. And you have the power to stay outside of it, to speak up in a dignified, calm, and kind way, and be the one in power. Because a person who is, you could say, a victim of his own emotions, his aggression, his anger, his doesn't think clearly. He's just rambling. He's putting it all out. And if you are living in a more unaware, unconscious state, what will you do? Like one knocks, you knock back, and then it never stops. What we see in the world right now, all this, like both look at me and I'm fighting and I will fight back. So for me, kindness is stopping that, like going out of that energy. Stop it. And I have learned, I'm working with several BMW dealerships, and in management meetings, I've often be the only woman, how could you say, a different kind of energy. I'm kind, I'm listening, but there are managers there, especially if they're like more sales types, who can take over the entire meeting and talk and look at me and boast. And I have learned to just in a meeting say, stop it and listen now. Have the confidence and the inner strength to know that I add value to the meeting. That I think that every kindness starts with self-kindness. You cannot emanate kindness if you're not kind for yourself first. If you realize at a profound level how worthy you are, that you're not more and not less than anyone else. People who go into feelings of superiority or inferiority, they have, you could say, it's insecurity manifesting. Even feelings of superiority, it's to cover up the insecurity. It's to cover up that you still have issues inside you. Because a truly confident, happy, fulfilled human being only want to lift and support other people, does not feel the need to put others down, does not feel the need to bully others. So every bully is a traumatized, wounded, insecure person. He or she is.
Wow.
But it's finding the balance to speak up for yourself, to stay in your empathy. And that's why, I wrote the book, The Path of Powerful Kindness, that in the first part, I really talk about the transformation of self. Because you cannot be a kindness ambassador and compassion ambassador if you have not dived very deep into yourself and put all, like the garbage, whatever wound you have bonded, you have processed it, and it's an ongoing story. Sometimes I get triggered too. Why did you get so triggered? So I think it's first the process of healing yourself, of filling yourself with that self-kindness, and then you can show up in the world. And I really believe, people call me global kindness advocate, but I'm really into real life. I'm into business. I have 3 young adult children now. They're young adults. I'm married for more than 25 years. So it's not like I'm on a mountaintop in a monastery proclaiming how to live. I'm living it. And I know it's hard. It's hard. And it's a training every single day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a journey. I mean, Barbara, a lot of people who would have been in your situation would have wanted all the empathy and the sympathy that everybody was bringing in, but you told them you didn't want any of that. You wanted people to approach you. Obviously, that's when the roots of kindness sort of started coming in. Is this something you would have seen somewhere, or was there some sort of reflection that you were mirroring at that particular time, or is there a methodology of existence that you would have seen that happening? Because I know anybody else in your position, Barbara, would have been, I'm sick. Oh my God, love me, everyone.
Um, I think that if my having that shock brought me back in a deep connection with maybe a spiritual side that I had neglected. So when you're faced with death so suddenly, you it was, well, I can explain it very difficult in 2 words, but I felt loved, supported, and protected in an unconditional way. Some would call it protected by God, other would call it by the universe. I do not want to put words into it to not, like have people like, oh, but I felt it. I allowed it. Especially I had, after a second surgery, I was so extremely ill and so in so much pain that I kind of surrendered. I really literally told like, so if it's over, take me, just take me. And my sister was sitting next to me and I was crying of pain. But then I felt like in surrendering, there was something telling to me, or I felt all will be well. So, our thinking mind is in those moments not always helpful. Our thinking mind is analytical and is very good servant to problem solving, daily things. But there is a deeper sense that we have. You could say it's your soul, you open your heart, you connect with your soul. If you dismiss that in your life, you miss a part of it. You're not a whole human being.
But this is obviously, does somebody have to go through such an extreme experience in order for them to be in touch with that
Well,
connection?
some people have, some don't. I'm quite stubborn. So I had to, like put my head to the wall very, to like kind of shake and wake up. I would never be sitting here otherwise. I would still be running, I think, some kind of a construction business or whatever. So we have a kind of educational system which almost doesn't value that spiritual side to life, which values, like if you walk, let's say children, they walk to school, look at the trees, look at the magic of life. Children have that innate, they have that wonder. And the tragedy of our educational system is they make it lose. Like children lose it because they're so focused on grades, on what's said to them. They're kind of, so it's a part of life, just as compassion, having loving relationships is crucial. If you're in that bed there in the hospital, you are not thinking whether you live in a mansion or in a hut. You don't. All you care about is the people around you. So nothing material. Of course, you hope you're insured and that, like the hospital will be paid. But besides of that, you don't care. You're just caring like, so if you have been a person who was obsessed by, let's say, success, money, and have burned certain relationships because of that, you pay the price at a certain point.
And I'm going to say this with utmost love and respect, because to whom much is given, yes, much is required. You yes, literally had to go through this in order for you to discover what you're now doing, because fast forward to today, you're now working with BMW dealerships and you're mentoring their leaders around the world, to be more kind and, have compassion.
I don't really guide them to be more kind. We're all into customer experience, operational excellence. But what I do is I model in my behavior, I model a different kind of being a leader. and that works best. If you're with a leader, they don't like to be told always things. So it is in being that example. In when there's a discussion, let's say a discussion or a certain fight or egos are clashing, the way you handle that, if you do that in an intelligent, compassionate way, they're like, whoa, something is modeled here, a way of dealing with disagreements. We can disagree and still be working together. We can have a different perspective. Like you bring a certain maturity into the room.
Right.
And I think it's the modeling is the most difficult one, the embodying. I have three, like my children, young adults, and they would say, "Oh my God, Mom, you're not kind now," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So I'm a human, I'm a human. I get triggered. I have sometimes, we have to leave. Everything is not ready. They're just strolling around, and I'm like, "Come on," and it's a daily training, and that's beautiful about the human experience. We have, like every second we have an opportunity to grow and to train ourselves in becoming more fulfilled, more mature, more empathetic, and deepen every connection we have with another human.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, the people that you're working with are leaders within their own right, and they
Yes, yes.
already think they're accomplished. First of all, BMW is a prestigious company to work for, so them sitting in those chairs means they are somebody
Absolutely.
in life. So you're obviously clashing with a lot of egos in every sort of walk of life, and people that would buy such a luxurious and expensive car are obviously coming from a space of, look at me,
Yeah.
otherwise they'll just go to a Toyota dealership and then just be like everybody else. But you bring in sunshine to every room that you step into. How do you then maintain such a positive energy, knowing where you've come from, who you've been, and everything else that has happened? I mean, there's, in 2016, things didn't work out for you financially, but I can
No,
see that
no.
smile on your face. Nobody would know if you
Yeah.
didn't tell them.
Yes. So in 2016, I was still running my construction business, and but without passion. I wanted, like to end it, but didn't know how because I'm a perfectionist. I wanted to end it in a beautiful way, but then I was betrayed by two of my employees, and I ended up almost bankrupt with enormous debts. So it was again, you could say, a knock from the universe, like, Barbara, if you don't listen, you have to learn the hard way. So there I was, 46 years old, and I had to reinvent myself. So I got an opportunity to work with BMW. I was already mentoring an executive there, and she suggested to BMW, one of the dealerships, that I work with them. So in the beginning, it was, you could say, work below my level. It was more administration work, but I had to swallow my pride. I needed the money. So it was a lesson in humility. There I was one day, the business owner, successful business. It was very quickly finished. And then I had to start, like quite not at the entire bottom of the ladder, but quite low at what you would call within a company a ladder. That was another lesson that you could say Darwin had it right. Like people who adapt, who are flexible, are the most successful ones. So I swallowed my pride. And within a few months, if you have a certain value to add, people see that, they notice. So I was asked to do quality management, to run the customer board, customer experience, then operational excellence. First it was 2 dealerships, then it's 5, then it's 6, So, within a few months, I was part of the management team. But if in the beginning, the opportunity that BMW gave me, I would have said, oh no, this is below my level. I wouldn't be where I am
This is
now.
what a lot of people do. They'll be like, nah,
Yes,
because opportunity comes dressed in overalls and
yes,
they
yes.
potentially refuse it. But I think you have literally done the whole journey of life, because obviously believe in life we're here to live, to learn, and to contribute, and you've lived your
Mm-hmm,
life, but you've learned the
mm-hmm,
lessons that are needed in order for you
mm-hmm.
to then be the one at the front of the room,
Yes.
the podium,
Mm-hmm.
contributing. And you've done that so beautifully, because you've written a book, right? The Path to
Yes. The
Powerful
Path
Kindness.
of Powerful Kindness, A Return to Humanness is the subtitle. And I'm really passionate of people starting to reflect. If we see the state of the world right now, it is an outpicturing of our inner state. So I only believe that we can bring more love and peace into the world if we have internally that balance, that peace inside. So if more, and if I see a future, it's not a future where leaders will change the world. It's a future where individuals will change the world. Because more people will say, enough, we've had it. We don't want to ruin the planet. We don't want to destroy each other. We've had it. Not because some leaders have that ego and are offended. If we look at the human being, what do we want in life? It's simple. We want peace, love, take care of the people around us. It's not complicated what we want.
Absolutely. I
And
quite
yet,
like that.
and
And
yet,
obviously people can grab this from Amazon and obviously connect,
yes, they can.
right?
They can. It's on Amazon, The Path of Powerful Kindness, Barbara Vercruysse. If you type it in, you will find it.
Absolutely. Now, Barbara, for those that are watching right now who might maybe feel stuck, like you said, the school system
Mm-hmm.
does not really teach people to connect with who they are. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
path, you go to kinder, high
Mm-hmm.
school, you buy a mortgage, go buy a
Mm-hmm.
BMW,
Yes. Yeah,
and
that's
things like
it.
that. And people are probably feeling stuck or afraid to maybe follow their calling like you actually did.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to encourage them to actually take that first step towards their passion?
Uh, so first of all, look at yourself and see what brings you joy, brings you deep joy. Maybe you're a cook and you love to cook, but your parents say, no, go for accounting, that brings in better money. You have the brains to do accounting. And I would say just start small. You continue your accounting, like company or job. But if you have that passion for cooking, start over the weekend, see how that goes. And I'm not the kind of person who will say, well, quit your job, drop everything, go for it. I know they're supposed to pay. I know there's people to take care of. I have always felt also an enormous responsibility towards my husband. Like we had still 2 of our 3 kids are in college. So, do combine the heart and mind, be intelligent about it, but don't let your mind talk you out of it. Don't do that. No negative self-talk. You are a cheerleader for yourself, but make plans. Make a business plan, like take a coach, somebody who is used to, like for startups or whatever your dream is. If it's a singing career, you want to change, you want to teach, you can do both. I'm into business. I wrote a book. I mentor people. I'm president of a women's organization. So it's not like you have to be boxed into one thing, your job only. You are as a human a lot more than that. In my free time, like I have painted, like these last years, I didn't have so much time, but I love to paint watercolor painting, not to, but just to explore all the gifts you were given. We all have our talents and our gifts. If you're not sure about it, do, like some kind of personality test, the 5 strengths test finder from Gallup. I think very interesting to see what your strengths are. Discover yourself first. And in discovering yourself, you will reconnect with the innocent child, you could say again, within yourself, who is passionate naturally about certain things.
Absolutely. Now, from what you're saying, you're literally saying discover your gifts. And when you have discovered those gifts,
Yes.
give them to the world, because the world
Yes.
is
Yes.
waiting for that
Absolutely.
gift. That is kindness in a nutshell.
Yes. Yes.
And Barbara, I can't thank you enough for the time that we spent on the call today. I mean, it's an
My pleasure.
absolute
My pleasure.
pleasure having you on the show today. I mean, your story is just a testament to the power of kindness and the resilience that anyone could possibly have, given what you went through. And now the impact that you now have, it's not just a dealership, it's families that are buying these cars and they're experiencing the touch of your hand through and through. So, in other words, you're literally doing God's work in whatever you're doing, helping other people look at another human being as a favorable human being, and that will make the world a better place. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Prosper.
Absolutely. For anybody who's tuning in right now, if you found today's conversation as insightful as I did, be sure to grab Barbara's book, The Path of Kindness. And trust me, you'll want to keep it on your bedside table. And don't forget to rewatch this episode, share it with a friend, and hit that subscribe button for more stories that will uplift and empower you. Until next time, keep leading with love. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Online Prosperity Show. Bye for now.